Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Guile here, and welcome back to another Supreme Commander Epic. That's right, 1 hour plus games are the order of business today. It's going to be a custom 4v4 on Wonder, and I'd just like to say thank you very much to Brink for allowing me to have this one. For those of you who sub to his channel, this is the mysterious game which he has had difficulties casting. I really should laugh. Apparently he's tried it 3 times and the casts have failed every single time, and I know exactly how you feel, Brohim, once or twice. In fact, one time in particular I did complete a cast of an epic over 1 hour plus game to find out that I'd had my microphone on mute the whole time. All I can say is it's a good thing that my stepsons weren't in the house at the time, because otherwise they'd be running off to school saying, "My stepdaddy said the F word 40 times, because, yeah, it was not pretty. So I sympathise, and I completely understand why you've yielded to the idea of someone else doing it. So thank you very much for passing this over. It's come straight from the replay forums. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be an average Joe's, and as we said, it's all going to go down on Wonder 4v4. So let's go on over to the game zone, see how these guys are going to get on. So we know what we're dealing with here in terms of map. Let's take a look at our teams and our players. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top, this Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1, rearguard air position, we have Alaris. He's gone baby pink, and Aeon, very sensible, opening first land. To his right at the eastern edge of Team 1's position, it's Turkey. He's gone Halle Borange orange, and he certainly is a Turkey because he's gone Cybrin opening first land. To the middle in baby blue we have Vikissis, and he has gone Aeon opening first land. And last but not least for Team 1 in mellow yellow down here we have Cav. He's going UEF opening first land. So we have a UEF, a Cybrin, one on each flank, and then 2 Aeon in the center for Team 1. Let's take a look at Team 2. Rearguard air position first of all down here in Vivacious Violet. We don't see enough of this color actually. It feels like I hardly ever say it, but it is particularly girly. Not that I'm making any comments about your persuasions, Elwood. It's all good. He's going Aeon anyway and opening first land. And next on the list up here is Hero Protagonist rather than Hero. Hero Protagonist. And he's also going Aeon in Ferrari Red, opening first land, then going second land there as well. Team member number 3 for Team 1 in the center in Pontiff White is Mac. He's going Cybrin, opening first land, and last but not least down here in Cyanide Scion, it's Silver, albeit with a couple of Y's flanking his name there. He's also going a UEF, opening first land. So the UEFs are facing off against each other. We've got a Cybrin v Aeon in the middle, and then what was this one? It was an Aeon v Cybrin actually on it. So it's 2 reversed mirrors here, and then of course the rearguard air position is both Aeon as well. So some duplication of both of the teams there, all facing off against relatively similar makeups. And we've got a little bit of lab play going on here from Silver, pushing north with a couple of mech marines, and they're going to roll past a couple of units coming south there from Cav, Striker and Snoop inbound, just holding steady in the middle for the moment while those mech marines begin circling around the edge to see where he's going with that. Well, not surprising at all, heading towards those 2 mechs, looking to pick off any vulnerable engineer. Poor old Terrence just got out of boot camp, first mission out the door, just finished writing a postcard home, forgot to post it. It'll never make it back to his parents. What a shame. Anyway, down he goes. End of that. Mech marines continue to press on towards the rear of Cav's base. Meanwhile, over here on the far edge of the map, we've got a little bit of harassment going in the other direction now. Turkey pushing south, trying to get in around the back of Hero Protagonist's base. Snoop running into the mech marines doesn't last too long, as you would expect. Meanwhile, over on the west, once again, Mass Pump takes about 40% of its hit points in damage there, but still survives as those mech marines carry on heading north and now look like they're threatening one of Alaris's engineers. That's going to go down, but a Striker has finally caught up to him there from Cav. Should be able to deal with those 2 mech marines. Doesn't look like there's a great deal of micro going on there, as you probably wouldn't expect from an average Joe's game. If you're taking a look at the ratings here in the top right hand box, you can see these guys are all firmly under 1500, but most of them over 1000, so it's not a complete newbie game. It really is very middle of the road indeed. Actually, one of those mech marines, astonishingly, still alive, now right in the back edge of Team 1's territory, again laying down some fire on a mech. So I'd be amazed if he stops there. More likely to carry on looking for more NGs, which he may well be able to find if he pushes south reasonably soon. Those few units that were getting in around the back of Hero Protagonist's base there from Turkey were eventually dispatched. And still that mech marine goes on. Some nice early work here from Silver. Managed to pick up another engineer. That is that mech marine's first kill. But he wants to carry on moving or he's going to run out of luck. And finally he is dispatched. So that's the end of that little threat. But those two mech marines more than paying for themselves. Meanwhile, as we move to the center here, Mac heading right to the middle of the map with his ACU. We do have a reasonable presence on the ground in the form of Turkey's Mantis spam with an odd Medusa in there as well. But so far, most of the ACUs from Team 1 seem reluctant to head to the center. Only real ACU presence at the moment in the very center of the map seems to be Mac, but we've already got Hero Protagonist moving to the center of his side of the map and laying down a T2 PD. That Oblivion almost done. It's going to give him some decent protection in the early game. All the other ACUs, though, for Team 1 opting to get their upgrades a little bit further back before rolling in. But we've got a couple of attack orders now going down in the center of the map. Let's have a look if the Kisses managed to pick up any upgrades on that comm. No, not yet. Electing to put down an anti-air turret, so he has somewhere to retreat to in case he's suddenly facing any particular threats from the air game. I'm not sure he has too much to worry on that front for the moment. Of course, he's not to know that. We do have T2 air in play now for Elwood at the back here, but he's busy working on air superiority, interceptors, and swift winds, the order of the day for him at the moment. Quite a lot of spam building up in the center now, though, from Silver. Cav still on an upgrade that's going to finish any second. We'll take a look at what that is. And that looks like that's the T2 engineering suite. Wouldn't be surprised we see a Triad going down very quickly indeed. Wants to hurry it up though, or he's going to lose the chance to do so. Best chance for Silver now to surely work on that mass extractor. Not going to cause the ACU any problems. He's going to pull out of there. Mass extractor still intact. That Oblivion turret up here was finished and a new one was completed, but that actually gets overrun by a quick counter-attack from Turkey. However, we do have a walled up T1 PD that's gone down at the same time, so Hero Protagonist looking pretty comfortable there in the middle as he's locking down that side of the map. Turkey getting another upgrade on. I'm sure we've just seen him on an upgrade. So he's already got the microwave accelerator, the gun there. See if he's going for T2 tech on top of that. One lone striker, meanwhile, in the west with 100 hit points out of 300. Just wailing away on that mass pump, but he's going to get caught out by a couple of strikers that turn up to save the day there from Cav. Mac getting an upgrade on his comm. Sliver already with the T2 engineering suite on board. Has he got gun as well? No, he doesn't. I'm seeing things. Of course he doesn't. Doesn't have that long barrel on that right arm there. But Triad complete. And now a wall of standoff between these two players, Cav and Silver, both UEF and both trying to get as many Triads online in that area of the map as quickly as possible. Silver, for the moment, blocking all incoming fire with his ACU. Those triads from Cav actually targeting the ACU at the moment. He now drops down into the yellow, but it should mean he's going to get another one online. Meanwhile, the cavalry arrives from the east. Mac rolling in with his ACU and a ton of Mantis. That ACU with the gun upgrade as well. Down goes one of the triads there from Cav. And that means he's going to be well and truly dislodged from that position. Those Mantis continue to press on towards Cav's main base. We do have some units coming in from the northeast from the Kisses, but they're not going to be there in time to stop a little bit of damage being laid down on Cav's base now. We do have T2HQ in play. Starting to build Mongoose out of that as we speak. Mantis have split into two groups now. One group heading north, picking off mechs as they go. Another group of four continuing onto the far edge of the map. So things start looking great on this side of the map for the moment for Team 1. Meanwhile, over in the east, Turkey has done a pretty good job of holding Hero at bay, but might potentially be fighting off more than he can chew here, although he has got personal stealth. I was wondering why that those T2 PDs weren't engaging. And that is, of course, because they didn't have coverage on it. Excuse the steam going off in the background. It only seems to happen when I'm in the middle of a cast. There we go. Turkey down to 3,800 HP, withdraws without ever getting into any serious difficulty, but now he's going to try a probing attack with his ground forces. We've got a couple of hoplites up front and quite a formidable group of Mantis, but most of this PD is now shielded. We've also got a couple of Obsidian tanks in there as well, so I don't think that force is going to gain any traction with that attack. They'd love to take out that land HQ if they could, just don't have the firepower to do so. Meanwhile, in the west, Cav still under heavy attack. He's down to 7,200 HP, getting well and truly double teamed at the moment. Mac pressing forward with his ACU, while at the same time Silver funneling troops up just past the edge of the mountains there. Elwood completes his advanced, or his basic RAST, starts his advanced RAST, advanced resourcing upgrade on the ACU there. If we actually take a quick look at Eco, Alaris is well and truly running away with it. Team 1's air player looking pretty formidable on 110, 112 mass per tick, fluctuating between Elwood, the air player for Team 2, on just 89 to 90. So pretty big gap between them. And then coming up third and fourth, we've got Silver and Turkey on 59 to 48. Sudden jump there from Vakissis, who leaps into fourth place, but it's in flux certainly. But the rest in the low 40s, and Cav, who's under a lot of pressure now from center player and left player from Team 2. He is in the low 20s now. Base getting well and truly run over here as we pass the 12-minute mark. He's still trying to produce triads, but at some point you've got to say your base is lost. Let's just try and save the ACU and stay in it as long as we can. Vakissis is trying to stall this attack, doesn't want this contagion spreading towards his base, has brought his ACU down, is trying to stop Sliver from securing this portion of the map. He's also got the gun upgrade there, so that's mitigating the HP advantage we're seeing on the UEF ACU there, but a couple of hastily rebuilt T1 PDs is going to persuade Vakissis to lead. Meanwhile, Cav in full retreat now, surrounded by strikers belonging to Silver. He's got 21 kills on board that ACU, and he's got 11,400 odd HP. Fortunately, just too few to risk knocking out that ACU. So instead, those units are going to be pressing on towards Alaris, who now has access to strap bombers. It could be a little bit of a game changer. Is that the first one we've seen on the map so far? I think it might well be. And that seems to be making a beeline straight for the other side of the map, going after Elwood's base, we suspect, but it never got anywhere near launching any bombs or dropping any bombs. Ton of swift winds and Inties waiting for it, swatted out of the sky before it gets anywhere near its bombing run. And Cav now well and truly neutralized. Mac all prepared to set up shop in his old base. He's just going to grab another upgrade first. And Silver not one for allowing any gaps on this side of things, has moved forward as well. He has shielded PD and anti-air in place. Meanwhile, we move over to the east, and what was a very static war has not moved on that much. Turkey has mobility in his forces, but is trying to soften up this area as much as possible before committing to any direct attack. Problem is, there is now a T3 land HQ here, and it's working on Harbingers. So unless we're starting to see some bricks soon, that attack is not really on the cards. We do have a T3 upgrade on the way, but that is only 29% complete so far. So Turkey could be about to have a few problems on that side of the map as well. Still running away from Eco with it there. Alaris 175. Elwood not doing too badly though, 145, 158, fluctuating between. But if Team 1 are going to come out of this alive, they really, really need to make something happen soon, because so far it's all been about Team 2. Left flank buckled and now firmly in the hands of Mac over there. And now we've got T3 units emerging over here for Hero, who doesn't want to be attacking though with just a couple of Obsidians. There's still a lot of firepower up there. Needs to be a little bit more precise with the micro as well. Harbinger getting caught up on a lot of that easily avoidable hoplite fire there. Just needs a few more commands coming his way. Personally, I think that was a real mistake engaging there. He's not going to break that wall. All he needed was a few volcanoes in there to deflect some of that mobile missile fire. But either way, not looking like any movements is happening on that flank at the moment. We do have a little bit of a counter push coming in here now from Team 1 though. Vikissis is assisting Cav at harassing this new base that's going up here. We do have Harbingers in play for Team 1, but a couple of overcharges could sort those out. Mac feeling very brave indeed, steps forward, blaps a couple of those, and now Cav once again finding himself utterly surrounded by T1 units. Under 10,000 hit points now on that ACU as these Mantis continue to press forward. They're prioritizing the Triad. That goes down, and I think with the Restorers above and these other ground units coming in from Vikissis, their best bet is to turn tail and run, and that's what they're going to do. A lot of rail guns being thrown together under this shield now. And that fire is going to be too much for the couple of Restorers that Alaris was throwing at that shield. But a couple of TAC missile batteries could cause some problems. That's nice positioning for them there from Mac, and they're going straight in after Cav's ACU. He spots it, moves it, and gets out the way in the nick of time. One of the drawbacks, or one of the benefits, I should say, the very few benefits of having your base destroyed and having only an ACU left. Those TAC missile snipes are much easier to spot, because chances are you're probably looking at this view and not much else. But still, not taking anything away from him. Nicely avoided. Those TAC missile launchers still in range of many other things, such as core T3 mechs from Alaris. So one of those going down, that's going to sting. Another one here, unshielded. He's going for the left one instead. Takes out a T2. And Alaris now, for the first time, falling behind Elwood in eco, 176 to 227. Situation not being helped, of course, by these TAC missiles coming in from Mac. Meanwhile, though, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. It looked like such a sturdy base, but apparently not sturdy enough. Hero protagonist, forward position, wiped out now by Turkey, who seems to be advancing now. That build capacity out front could do a lot worse than to get themselves gone. Life definitely overrated anyway if you're an Aeon engineer. Very poor dental benefits. And there goes the eastern flank for Team 2, so that is a break that they needed. Whether it'll be enough remains to be seen, but certainly something to smile about for Team 1. The number of restorers, meanwhile, increasing slowly, and of course the moment I say it, one of the said gunships succumbs to flak. Still TAC missiles inbound from Mac. Sure where that's going, so he's going right the way across the map to a T2 mechs. Only one missile though won't be enough to, well, I'm talking complete garbage. Of course it will. That was only a T2 mechs, expecting those all to be T3 now. That's what happens when you're so used to watching pro games and you're a minute shy of 20, or a few seconds shy of 20 minutes. Remind myself this is an average Joe game and these guys are closer to my own level. When I say closer, they're still better than me. But hero protagonist under a lot of fire over in the east. Again though, another ACU under pressure survives. 6,700 HP on board that ACU. Harbingers trickling out now, and the bricks that were here now dead and gone, overcharged by the ACU. Harbingers should be able to tidy the rest of that up, but we've also got TAC missiles inbound from up here. They're going after the ACU. No, they're not. They're going straight after the T3 land HQ and the engineers around it. Good shout would be that T2 P-Gen. Volcano hastily constructed though, should prevent any more of those TAC missiles from getting in. Still got those TAC missile launchers over here. And one of them on 17 kills, the other on 24. Enormous amount of damage, but what on earth? Well, that would be a Serenity Aeon T3 mobile artillery launcher landing an artillery shell right in between the fluctuations from the power restricted shields there. Nice work indeed. Bit of luck never hurt anybody. Takes care of those two tactical missile launchers and gives Team 1 a little bit more breathing room. Cav setting up shop north of his old base now, just trying to load up on TMD and other static defenses while he gets some semblance of an economy together, but it's going to be tough, especially starting from 8 mass per tick generated, which is what he's pulling in at the moment. We can probably bump this to +2. Couple of trebuchets now for Turkey just north of the midpoint of the map, laying down some fire on engineers as they traverse looking for more reclaim. And while things are quiet, we can take a moment just to check on the reclaim figures. So Elwood Team 2's air player scooped 21,600 mass so far. Alaris Team 1's air player on just 12,200. So Elwood vastly outstripping his opponent. No doubt that was what helped him get on top as quickly as he did. Silver on 5,000. Turkey on 12,000. Mac on 15,000. Verkissis on 8,000. Hero on 17,000. And Cav on 13,000. Not enormous numbers for the front row players. This is something that a lot of players forget about the Wonder maps. Plenty of this grey stuff is traversable and can often give you some pretty good cover against potential bombing runs as well. Now we have trebuchets from Turkey sitting in those gullies, causing all kinds of issues for Hero, who loses another T2 mechs over on the corner of the map once again. Let's take a quick look at air, see how these two teams are doing. So Elwood sitting on 57 ASFs as we speak. Alaris conversely on 50, so not a great deal between these two teams at the moment in terms of ASF production and air dominance. Lone Harbinger straying into the mountainside, trying to shoo away those trebuchets. Seem to have done the trick, at least for now. Bricks lining up in the center there for Turkey as well. And now we look over to the left, we can see a Monkey Lord is under construction, but a GC is inbound from Alaris. I was just about to say, I'm quite surprised we haven't seen any experimentals show up as of yet. And of course you look around and there one is, and it's rolling in at the worst possible time for Mac & Co. That Spider very nearly finished, but GC strolls up, immediately takes care of all of the build capacity to cease production on that. Could do with taking out these plasma cannons as well. Shield goes down, he does exactly that. Down go the triads behind it, and he's only lost the best part of about 18,000, 17,000 hit points. That allows him now to take out the Monkey Lord. And could we be about to see Cav reclaiming control of his base? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, still a long way to go, but it certainly doesn't look like there's a lot on the edge of the map here for Team 2. Certainly nothing that's going to stop that GC, I don't think. So Cav with an opportunity now to re-establish control over his original core mechs. Meanwhile, Bricks versus Harbingers in the center usually goes much better for the Bricks, especially when they're in higher numbers, of which they are in this case. Turkey going to decimate, and that's not a correct use of the words at all, annihilate that body of Harbingers, but in comes a wall of Titans and a shielded ACU from Hero, and that will be enough to back those forces up. Things looking dicey just for a moment there for Team 2, but Mac playing very nicely indeed. Yes, he's lost control of this section over here, but he's keeping eyes on the flanks and where he needs to offer assistance when required. So doing a nice job, but a second GC in the field now for Alaris. Cav rushing towards his old base with as much build capacity as he can, trying to get all of that mass and reclaim back in the bank as soon as possible. We have a Fat Boy nearly finished down here for Silver. That's definitely going to complete, I would say. But those GCs right on the front door of Silver's base now. See the hail of artillery fire coming in from the completed Fat Boy as those two GCs stroll up to the front base. We have, well, front of the base, we have Cerberus turrets being built in a major hurry there by Mac. But this does not look good at all. Silver and Mac in the area with their ACUs. Silver has a fully shielded commander, but that's not going to last long. Gets two GCs. Mac has a little bit of a lead on Silver. We've got guided missiles coming in from Elwood, but the shield has disappeared, and Silver is the first one out of the game at 29.5 minutes after what looked like such a strong beginning for Team 2. It really was all about that second GC turning up out of nowhere. So Alaris, despite being further behind on eco, manages to get his team back in the game, and now the left-hand edge of the map is weak for Team 2, and at the same time Hero finds himself in trouble as a joint push from Vakissis the Turkey now sets to cut him off from Mac's base. That is now heading right down the center. And worse still for Team 2. One GC still remains. No, it doesn't. What? That must have been built by Elwood in a major hurry that helped save the day. Assumed because of the trajectory that was coming in, that was one of Alaris's GCs. Don't know what happened there. You can see the two GC corpses there, so good work from Elwood helping to take those down. Another spider bot under construction over there. Monkey Lord from Mac. And Elwood starting work on a nuke launcher at the back there. Gonna get great speed from its adjacency bonus, speed of build on those missiles, but of course incredibly vulnerable from potential chain reactions. But major air engagement kicking off in the center of the map. Both players withdraw their ASFs as quickly as possible, and now Elwood marching forward with his GC. Support commanders waiting for him, heavily shielded with asylums nearby. Now another air engagement, this time over the top of Hero Protagonist's base. Not a great deal of static anti-air, if any, in the area, so this is a straight up fight between these two guys. Where does that leave us so far? 74 ASFs in that portion of the map there for Elwood, compared to 27 for Alaris, so Elwood looking much more dangerous in the skies. Of course, we do have a selection of restorers on the field there from Alaris as well. Strap bombers going to work on some of these troops. A little bit of an error there, I would have said, heading north into all of that fire. Mac once again though pushing out with these hoplites. Cav only just managing now to re-establish control over his old base. Now faces another threat, this time from a mix of T2 and T3 ground. Unless he gets more assistance from his team. Could be about to lose it once again. We do have restorers in the area, of course. They could come to assist. That would prompt a reaction from the ASFs of Elwood, of course. But Cav now moving down with his ACU. Overcharge on the ground in the area would be very much needed. Those T2 units absolutely no match for a group of 8 or so restorers. Best bet would actually be to focus on the T2 units, get them out of commission quicker. Cav trying to build Ravagers in the center, one of them online, another one about 50% complete. Desperate to try and re-establish his eco. He's got a couple of core T3 mechs in play and a couple of T2 mechs that are upgrading. Multiple GCs under construction meanwhile down in Elwood's camp. And that nuke launcher about 40% done on its first missile now, so it won't be long before we hear those immortal warning tones coming out from the system. Monkey Lord for Mac going into the green there at 75% complete. Meanwhile though, Hero looking set to be the next base to crumble as a GC from Vikissis and a Spiderbot there from Turkey. A lot of assisting T3 units roll through his base. 1 strap bomber, 2 strap bomber, 3, and a whole load more coming in from Elwood. Gonna go straight after that Monkey Lord. First pass should take it into the red, but it ranks up on veterancy just as it gets in range of that mass extractor. Nice little bit of dodging on the handbrake turn there. Like, just keep it alive. Oh, 2,000 hit points. Surely he's got enough to kill it. There are, of course, those bouncers in the area. Mobile T3 anti-air, but it literally just needs someone to sneeze on that Monkey Lord and it'll go down. Meanwhile, another GC inbound from Alaris. That Monkey Lord was completed there for Mac. We have Spectres out for Elwood trying to counter it as we speak. Hero manages to stand his ground in the face of experimental assault. Thankfully, another GC there from Elwood in the area to help stop the push from Vikissis. And wouldn't you know it, that Monkey Lord with T2 gunships and all of the other various units in the area has won out against that other GC in the center. So Team 2 survives a little longer on this side of things, but all of the momentum now with Team 1. And Hero under severe pressure. A lot of these units, though, are anti-air. Just needs to deal with these bricks. 1 left. And an overcharge will do it. Down it goes, and those bouncers need to head for home or face annihilation. Pings going down. Strategic missile defense in place. Got 1 ping, and Team 2 noticing the other one. Unless that was an assistance ping there from Elwood. Megalith under construction now from Mac. And Elwood really is way ahead on eco now. 470 against 360 of his mirror up here on Alaris. And we actually have a nuke launcher online for Alaris as well. We have a strategic missile defense 2, a couple of anti-nuke missiles in that silo already. So
strategic launch detected.
He won't be going for Alaris. He's actually going for Turkey, and Turkey wisely moving his ACU out of the potential blast radius. Well aware that he's a vulnerable target there. That will
Strategic launch detected.
level things up slightly. Down goes Turkey's whole base pretty much. But that was finished incredibly quickly. He must have already had one in the clip there. And that is going towards Silver's old base. No doubt going to try and grab all of the core mechs in there. Indeed it does. So resources only really caught up in that one. A little bit of a counter push coming out now from Team 2. One of the Monkey Lords from Mac not making it though. That GC from Elwood probably not going to make it either. Oh my god, 5,900 HP, hardly anything left on the tank. But it's enough, and that has alleviated pressure on the center as far as Team 2 are concerned. Elwood, meanwhile, has moved one of his GCs out with 45 kills right up to Cav's old base, and he's caught in a face beam trade-off with another GC there from Alaris. No micro involved. Pure damage and hit points, and the guy without the support and also probably with a lower HP unsurprisingly loses out in that one. Cav still with pretty much all of his resources intact. One of the core mechs went down that. The other three are all at T3 and still operational. And now, of course, it's another GC there for Alaris to harvest. We'll take a look at reclaim figures in just a second. First of all, let's take stock of this little counter push that's been going on from Elwood. Seems he's gained enough ground for the moment. Doesn't want to overextend. Going to pull those Harbingers back. A lot of GCs and Monkey Lords dotted around the map that so far have not been reclaimed yet. Mac will be filling up his mass tanks nicely on the bones of his old units, sending that excess mass straight into his teammates' coffers there. 40 minutes gone, still only one exit from this game. And now another counter push from Vakissis, who is starting to supplement his forces with support commanders, and it's usually a very bad sign for whoever's facing them. So much utility, so many options. More strap bombers out from Elwood trying to get something done, but too many T3 SAMs and bouncers kicking around the map. Those restorers still making a nuisance of themselves. Slight error there. Monkey Lord allowed to be picked off by Vakissis. Hero not happy with what's going on from his teammate there. But Mac now has placed one of his experimentals, a megalith, right in the center of the field, and using that range to clear a little bit of a path. That, however, looks very nasty indeed for Team 2. Alaris bearing down on the center of the map with 3 GCs, one of which Gunner seems to have fallen asleep on the keyboard. This really is battle of the experimentals now. as multiples converge on the middle of the map. And the secret is trying to get as many of yours all meeting up at the same time and dishing out their damage at the same time. Those 3 from Alaris going straight after that Megalith. Down goes the Megalith. Next prioritization is one of the 2 GCs coming in from Elwood. Restorers in the area for a moment, and then of course they get vaporized by an air incursion from Elwood's ASFs. It does appear that Alaris has got back on track though with ASF production. Things looking pretty good. So we go back to the exchange between the Colossi. So 1 down from Alaris, but of course as soon as that one goes down, another one rolls in to take his place. Vakis is still with 1 in operation, so Heroes only experimental up front gets vaporized. Another nuke, and once again it's out from Elwood, and he's using it as a close fire support nuke.
Strategic launch detected.
Really doesn't like Turkey's face. And I thought for a moment that was his ACU. It wasn't. It's a support commander who's not going to make it home to see his daughter. Very sad stuff indeed. Another nuke out. It was also from Elwood, I believe. And that was a close fire support nuke. Straight down on top of the GCs. However, GC still looking pretty healthy. Seems to have escaped the center of the blast zone. And Hero Protagonist, in harm's way, gets caught up by one of the GCs. But as soon as I'm looking at it, what on earth? Oh my goodness me, Elwood picks off Alaris with a strap bomber attack. This is a caster's nightmare, the amount of stuff that's going on off screen when you're not looking at it. And of course, there go all of the GCs, which were literally about to finish the game for Team 1. Hero Protagonist in direct line of sight from those GCs with his ACU. Vakissis continues to roll forward on the right meanwhile. Hero Control K's those last factories, denying any future assistance on veterancy. Why not? Now that's interesting. So Team 1 losing their air player at the 45-minute mark. Very nicely done indeed. Really wish I'd paid more attention on that, but it's just so unbelievably difficult. You can't be everywhere. GC from Vakissis taking a lot of combined fire now. Mercy's coming in from Elwood, and that keeps Max Megalith looking reasonably healthy, although another GC coming in from the north as well. Having seen what just happened to his brother though, turns around and says, nah. Mercy sent in regardless, taken down to around half HP. God, tons of them being produced. Elwood running away with this one on eco. Once again, 538 mass per tick. His closest rival, Alaris, recently assassinated. It's now vitally important that Elwood puts this massive eco and now air advantage to good use. Remember, they're facing more or less 3 effective players against 2. Hero Protagonist is alive in name only for the moment, trying to re-establish himself, but it's essentially just an ACU with a few power storage up here at the top. Not a great deal going on for him right now. A couple of fat boys rolling in from Cav. We thought the strap bombers would be able to deal with them nicely. However, of course, we are seeing some Cougars in the area. A lot of damage come off those T3 mobile anti-airs. GC catching up.
Strategic launch detected.
With that fat boy. Is he going to have enough left in him to kill it off? It's going to be close. Where is that nuke going? It's going up towards Cav's base. But I don't believe it. He survives, and the GC does not. Cav eats a nuke, another nuke out from Elwood. All of his core mass out of the picture. Once again, takes him from over 240 something mass down to 166 mass. So massive economic catastrophe there for Cav, having recently only got himself back on his feet. Elwood sucking up those harbingers with that GC, but eventually succumbs to the pressure. And already nearly 50% done on another nuke. Cav restarting construction of his old base with a strategic missile defense. Well, I can't blame you, and to be honest, I wish more players would do that. The amount of players that just go into rebuilding their base instead of actually thinking about defending against the thing that's just killed them or just destroyed half their base. It's like an eternal war of GCs in the center of the map. They just keep coming from both sides. Hero flirting with the edge of the danger zone there with his commander, so he can offer overcharged support on the ground. But really, ground-based weaponry just doesn't look like there's any danger of anyone breaking through, but that's interesting. T3 artillery in play there from Mac. See advice coming thick and fast from Hero about what to do with it. And indeed, if they kill that strategic missile defense, is there anything to stop the next nuke from taking out the Kisses? I think that's the only one he's got. Down goes the shields coverage, and the next shell should do it. There it goes.
Strategic launch detected.
And almost like clockwork, a nuke goes off, and it's not actually from Elwood. Mac now has a functional nuke as well, but he's not going after Verkisses' base. Interesting stuff. There was an opportunity there that has been used defensively. Well, there really is looking like a dangerous group of units. Having said that, it didn't look like anyone was in danger of breaking through. Curse of the Commentator comes into effect once again, and suddenly Team 1 looked like they're in danger of breaking through on the ground. But certainly Team 1 would be vulnerable to a nuke now right down the center. Elwood can't be too far off the next one. In fact, he's got one loaded. Oh my god, fire it now. You may be thinking he needs to use that one defensively.
Strategic launch detected.
2. Can't see the nuke ping. No, that is going straight after the Kisses, but I wouldn't have placed it there. Probably would have put it further back here somewhere and killed all this build capacity as well as the core mechs, but his decision. Maybe he's worried about potential SMDs further back out of sight, but that is going to land nicely and actually doesn't kill all the cool mechs. Verkisses retains one of his T3 mechs and all of its associated mass storage in the center there. Of course, as soon as I say it, the next artillery shell comes in and wipes out the mass storage. So Team 1 looking dangerous on the ground, but Team 2 with a lot of standoff capability. A little bit worried about the lack of firepower on the ground, though, for Team 2. Nice bombing run takes the Fat Boy down to what must have been about 70, 80 hit points. Somehow the Fat Boy survives. Now, of course, HP flying back onto it, but the next bombing run will secure the kill. Down it goes. But a couple of GCs rolling in could cause a few problems. These are support commanders up front for Mac, very hurriedly constructing Oblivion turrets. Attack pings going down on Mac's ACU. They managed to complete a GC. More Mercies coming in now on the left GC there for the Kisses. That's going to go down. And you would imagine with all the extra firepower they've got in the area, there should be another hold for Team 2. In come more Mercies. In come the Restorers. Hero Protagonist firing in overcharges as often as his cannon will allow him to. And down he goes. What else is left to continue this push for Team 1? Well, of course, we've still got this megalith in the center here from Turkey. Now we've also got another GC from Vakissis and another Fat Boy coming in from the left there from Cav as well. Lovely little miasma battery there. But Hero Protagonist finally succumbs to the pressure. He wasn't really doing much in the game other than helping with base defense. His base was gone and in no major danger of coming back. But look at this TAC missile battery that has gone up top recently as well. A lot of them not loaded their first missile, but that is a murderous barrage waiting to happen. And another nuke launcher online there for Elwood. And can they see if they got good intel? Well, they should worry about that. They see that on the map. Should just be volcanoes dotted all around here. But any second, soon as those front ones get a missile loaded, we're going to have a nasty surprise, I suspect, for Team 2. I've got to say, Team 1 need it. They're really struggling to keep up with this nuke spam at the moment. Determined not to miss another key play in this game, having missed at least 2 of them already. Certainly not a lot else going on the field right now, with the exception of the Colossus that is wailing on Mac's base. Well, I just said I don't want to miss another key play. I'm missing Kisses wrecking Mac's base, but the Mercies have done a phenomenal job there from Elwood, as they have been doing throughout this game. Just shows you they're not just for snipes. And there go the TAC missiles. Where are they off to? Virtually no TMD around here. We've got one volcano up here at the top. Going straight after the nuke launcher, and chain reaction takes out most of Elwood's power grid. And the 2 nuke launchers as well. And the nuke launcher over here belonging to Mac is gone as well. So I believe that is all of Team 2's nuclear capacity and really their main threat neutralized in this one. And they're going to get another strike now with these TAC missiles up top if they want them, assuming the Kisses can get the eco to build anything in them. expensive business building from TAC missile launchers, but would you look at the amount of mass just sitting in the center there. Elwood just needs to get a GC up here to defend or something, so he can get some engineers or support commanders up here to hoover some of this up. Try and reclaim a bit of ground. He's trying to get a Tsar online. That might be a little ambitious. But that last attack from Vakissis annihilated Mac's base. He's lost his T3 artillery there. I think there's only one destination for this game now, and I've got to say I am surprised. More mercy work going down on these experimentals up front, but you can't rely on mercies forever, not when the quantity of experimentals coming your way is increasing. Another TAC missile barrage away. The Tsar is destroyed on the ground. Megalith inbound there from Turkey. Where are those TAC missiles going? Well, they're going straight after the miasma battery. I thought there were more key targets that he could have gone for. Other power generating structures would have been my choice. Like these T2 mass fab farms Elwood has been throwing up everywhere. You don't see an awful lot of that. The time you ever do are in these longer games, but we've now passed the 1 hour minute mark, the qualifying time for epicosity in the eyes of my meager self. And does that mean we could have a tele-snipe on the way or something like that? Did say, seems saying he wasn't going to tele. Well, we have got a personal teleporter, so he needs the microwave laser, but whether or not he'll be allowed to do anything like that is unlikely, as we've got a couple of fat boys raining fire down on his base now. Mac is going to lose all of his power producing structures, I should think. And really, Team 2 never recovering properly from the attacks by Vakissis. TAC missiles coming in from the east, that GC that managed to make it all the way to Mac's base. Another barrage there, taking care of some T3 air factories and some more power generators. Surely Team 2 prepared to capitulate now as these experimentals roll up towards their base. I'm just wondering where Mac is. He teleported himself somewhere. Yeah, there we go, straight into his base. So another key aspect of the game missed there. It's been a good day. Something to do with my sleep-deprived state, but he didn't have the microwave laser generator, so that was never going to work. Down he goes, and down goes Elwood as Vakissis catches up with him with a GC. Fantastic game, says Vakissis. Cav said, I played awful. I never make fun of people. That's not my style at all. When have I ever done that? Lies. But anyway, 1 hour, 4 minutes. I missed just about every important aspect of the game. I think it was the Kisses who wanted that game to be casted so badly. I apologise if I stuffed that up, but hey, I didn't stuff it up as badly as Brink. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future, but in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.